The Mile High Game Guys board gaming podcast is not safe for work, unless your workplace appreciates constant swearing, frequent digressions from the topic, and making fun of Adrian. If so, fuck yeah, start the show.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Mile High Game Guys board gaming podcast. I'm your host Adrian.
I'm Zach.
And I'm Jeff.
Yeah, I said that wrong.
Zach just about died.
No, I pulled my... I did that when I was like...
He almost choked himself with his mic cord.
Yeah.
That's clearly what happened.
Clearly.
Yes. Hopefully everybody enjoyed that other awesome intro from Jake over at Draft Mechanic. He sent us a couple of those, potentially a third one coming in the future. And we'll sprinkle them in here and there. We're not going to do it all the time. But he sent us them. It was hilarious. And we decided to just really wear that joke out this week. You know, random intros. So, but yeah, hopefully y'all enjoyed that. And now we can move on into the main episode here. So this is another Q&A episode. We did one
15 episodes ago.
15 episodes ago.
15 weeks ago.
Mhm.
Yes.
Some would call that
Multiple months.
No, you're not wrong, because it was... through episode numbers, it was 15 ago, but more than 30-ish.
30-ish episodes.
Because we still are the most podcast.
Yes.
We are the most podcast. But we had a bunch of fun with it. It ended up being, I think, one of our most enjoyable recording sessions we'd had in a while.
Yeah.
Our listeners, you asked some great questions. We had an absolute blast. And so we decided to do it again. And so here we are. We put up a BGG thread and we posted about it on Twitter and the Slack channel a couple times. Never made it over to Facebook or anything like that. But you guys all came through and we've got a bunch of questions. And yeah, we're gonna dive right into them. We're gonna start off here with Twitter, where we had the least number of questions. So we'll just knock that out of the way. Then we'll do BGG, and then we'll top it all off with a light coating of Slack channel questions. Just like a little icing on the cake. So first up from Twitter, Andrew would like to know, how many times can you subtract 10 from 120?
An infinite amount of times.
Or is it just once? Because then it's no longer 120 after you've subtracted 10. So it's either once or infinite.
Do parentheses 120 minus 10, close parentheses, infinite.
Jeff, do you have do you want a tie break for the show? Is it infinite or is it once?
12.
Correct. 100%.
Yeah. No, it's one, though.
It's
100% one.
This isn't a question, but I'm...
Actually, but what if I do a different 120? Like, is it the same 120? Or is it, because technically it's like, I'm going to do it here, but then I'm also going to do 120 and 10 here.
Null error, not enough information.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You were just wrong in asking this question.
Yeah, exactly. That's one us.
Yeah. Tom would like to know, what level of pledge do you get a live stream of Adrian playing Rising Sun? Which I want to pause for a second, and I want to go back while you guys ruminate. So Tom, different Tom, good friend of the show, had replied to Andrew's Twitter response there with a GIF of Buzz Lightyear to Infinity and Beyond. And when I first saw that come up, it was after Tom had asked this question, and I thought that Thomas was replying to Tom with infinity.
Infinity dollars.
And I thought that was a great answer. And so that's going to be my answer. It's going to take infinity money for me to
really?
No. God, no.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I am way cheaper than that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We knew that.
Yeah.
Real answer, if you want a live stream of me playing Rising Sun, the best way to do that is not necessarily through one single pledge. I mean, you could if you want to just go bonkers. But we're going to need enough that we can get a good studio set up with some video going.
And then we can do twice that, and we can have Adrian play Rising Sun and pretend that he likes it.
I am not that good of an actor.
That is 100% true.
Fund an entire video studio.
Yeah. Adrian, he looks like he's enjoying himself, but he is also crying blood. So
Just
the other option would be to just bother the crap out of Edward over at Heavy Cardboard about having us come up there and borrow their studio and do Rising Sun up there in their studio
with complete strangers.
That way, when I
on their YouTube channel,
that way when I vomit everywhere, I don't have to clean it up.
That's
It's
you know
in
what?
a different studio.
I'm for that.
And Edward would never talk to me again after I vomited in his studio.
Then I wouldn't have to hear about you playing as many heavy games. This is you are just selling. You've already sold me, Adrian. You can just stop.
Next question. Thomas, who had replied the Infinity Beyond thing I mentioned earlier, asks, "Nope, I abstain because Zach MHGG keeps avoiding my questions on technicalities like punctuation. Is he afraid of my questions?"
It still sounded like you were saying a question.
Yeah, it's hard to
Is he afraid of my questions?
But that didn't sound forceful enough for the exclamation point he used.
Oh, he did use that.
Is he afraid of my questions?
That still sounds too much like a question.
Is he afraid of my questions?
It's like it's really hard to say a phrase that starts with "is" and not have it end like a question.
Yeah.
afraid of my questions.
Yeah. Is he? No. Is that I was like, is he afraid of my questions? It's hard. Yeah.
Get your punctuation right.
Yeah,
you were almost there.
Yeah. Well, it just said it was a good statement.
This sums up Twitter. That was all for Twitter. So Twitter's done. And we can move right along to where you can hear Zach's sultry voice as he reads BGG responses.
Although I'm pretty sure you don't want me to do my actual sultry voice.
Not for all of them,
Yeah.
certainly.
I couldn't survive.
Patrick, his first question. How does one properly ask a question? Just like that. Good job.
You nailed it.
Yeah.
Good job, Patrick.
This is my question, not a post about asking questions. Maybe you could get that guy who sends in all those detailed essays to write up something as a response to my clearly incorrect statement. Also, Zach, don't post a link to some website about how to ask a question. I listen to audio podcasts because I'm too lazy to read and I have short-term focus. I can't watch videos. Maybe you could narrate that in your sultry tones and send me the audio file and I could follow up. Oh,
I don't like that as an option.
Actually, well, no. So actually, I love this. For the next time we do one of these, I'm going to find that article and I'm going to have Zach read it in his deepest and sultriest voice.
Can I just weep in the bathroom?
Oh
as
God,
he
yeah.
does
Oh
that?
yes, yeah. It's going to be fantastic. And then we'll just put that audio file into the post. So anybody who wants to ask a question has to listen to it.
Ugh.
Oh, and when is episode 69?
Like
Brown cow.
As always, your questionable pal, Patrick.
we question it every time.
Yes.
All the time.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Patrick, I'm sad I won't get to see you at Geekway, man.
It's a bummer.
It is. Moving on from sad things to more funny questions.
Next one is from Kamil. What are your most and least favorite moments you have had while playing a heavy board game?
Oh, so many moments. Most recently, I think my most favorite moment playing a heavy game was on the live stream for the Estates when I cracked a joke about Clay not having a lot of money and that it was a Clay stack. And that carried then over even into the stream of Noggin the Nog this past weekend, where somebody accused Edward of having a Clay stack of workers because he had used up all of his little Nogs. And yeah, having a random little joke I made that killed Clay. He laughed so hard. It was fantastic. And then having that carryover. That's been my favorite heavy gaming moment so far.
Is that game, does it play just like the previous game?
The Estates? Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
It's basically a reprint.
Okay. So your
Updated graphics.
Gotcha. So your heavy game is one that's weighted at 2.69. I'm just saying there's things that are higher that you've said have not been heavy games. I'm just
BGG ratings are not always accurate.
100% accurate always, forever and ever.
Yes, I don't know. I feel like the Estates, it gives me the same feelings as a heavy game, so I'm going to call it a heavy game.
Okay.
That's that. I could also throw up runner up would be, I don't know, not necessarily most favorite, but it's been fun getting my ass thoroughly handed to me over the last week and a half by Alan, Andrew, and Nathan in an online game of Food Chain Magnate that we're running through the Slack channel. They whipped me like a rented mule. It was bad. As Andrew pointed out at the end of it, Nathan won. He had 60 times my amount of money. I had $12. He had 700 and some.
You did poorly.
I did very bad, but it was a lot of fun. So, least favorite heavy game moment. That one's trickier. Probably trying to teach Lisboa at game night. That was my least favorite heavy gaming moment. That was painful. Did not enjoy that at all. So those are my two. What about you, Zach? What's your favorite and least favorite heavy game moment?
Jeff, do you have any by any chance so I can think more?
How heavy do you think Blood Bowl is?
Blood Bowl is not a heavy game.
3.16. It's heavier than the Estates.
Boom! Gotcha, bitch.
We're not going by BGG weight.
Podcast vote going by BGG. Wait, boom.
Fine, if you guys want to do that, then go by BGG.
No. I just wanted to crush you with that first.
Yeah. He had that shit ready.
Correct.
Yeah.
Oh man, when was the last heavy game I really played? That I didn't like. What would count as least favorite?
Mm-hmm.
So heavy games that I know you've played. You've played Gallerist a few times.
Oh yeah, I like Gallerist.
Made you play Food Chain.
Did anything actually stick out? Like any particular moments, good or bad, from any of those?
I don't know. Gallerist is probably my favorite heavy game.
That wasn't the question though. Any moments stick out at you?
When I won.
You did win a Gallerist.
Oh,
That was
okay.
pretty. That was one. No, he did.
It's a rare occasion.
We were amazed that it happened.
I did well. That's probably it. I don't know. Worst. Probably some event in Food Chain Magnate where I got the like unlimited advertising and then I was just like, and I couldn't do anything with it over and over again because I couldn't produce the right foods for the advertising plus other people's bullshit advertising they put out, and then just not being able to do anything the whole game.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I could see that'd be frustrating.
Yeah. It's like, here's an airplane.
Right.
So some ideas, Zach, that might jog your memory.
I thought of my favorite one, and couldn't tell you which game it was, but it was. I just remember the moment of you were like someone exasperatedly said, Zach, it's really annoying how you just don't like these games. But
that was Lisboa. You beat me in Lisboa.
But you keep beating me.
Like, I hate how good you are at these games considering you don't even like them.
Yeah. Okay, that was Lisboa. All right, that sounds about right. Least favorite, I don't like most of them. None of them really stick out at me. So I don't really have any bad ones. I'm trying to think.
Was it when someone ripped a dominant species board in half?
That was after the game. And I just thought it was funny.
Oh my God, I felt so bad.
All right. Okay, well, we'll go off dominant species then. Is that how I always consistently get when I think the game's going to end? One turn too early.
Yes.
Always I do. Giant ass push, have big board, control, and then it's like, oh right, no, we do one more.
We're just gonna tamp that right back down.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. I was going to suggest some other options when you were having trouble thinking there a little bit. I do remember you having at least some fun early in 1889 with some of the like blocking and things like that. At least you were laughing and carrying on along with Paul.
Yes.
And then I was going to say maybe one of our plays of Indonesia, if there was a moment that you could think of where like you did some malicious merging, because I'm pretty sure you pissed me off. I remember it's hard to say what exact moment I'm thinking of when you pissed me off because it just happens. These days, it's just constant.
It's just a general redness.
But I feel like there was a time in Indonesia really fucked me on a merge.
I wouldn't doubt it. I was like, well, because I know that first game we played, I didn't merge at all. Then I was like, I'm not going to deal with that. So I only dealt with other people merging in that second one or third one. I was like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna get a little merging, and I'm pretty sure there was a point where I was like, this will be interesting.
Back to the rest of Kamil's questions here, because he has 4 in this comment.
Yes, he does. Next one. Tell us about your worst / most bizarre experience when playing games with strangers or at random meetups.
I'm trying to think of any particular one that stands out to me. There was kind of a weird family that we played Robo Rally with at Genghis Khan a couple years ago.
Yeah.
And it was just kind of...
I saw them at I want to say Gen Con or something 2 years later.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So it was a kind of just a bizarre situation where... So this one's bizarre because of the player. So it was a mom and her 2 young teenage sons.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hard to put my finger on what it was, but something about the way they interacted, almost separate from, it's like they ignored us for the game and just had their own insight. It just seemed bizarre. Ant was trying to ask them questions about games they play and things they do. and they were giving really short answers and then like turning to each other and like laughing and telling inside jokes and stuff, and it felt odd. So that's from people experience. Now, telling that story reminded me of what is, to me, one of the most interesting experiences I've had playing at a con or a meetup. And it was that same convention, and we were sitting there struggle busing through Gates of Loyang, and we're sitting there laughing and kind of carrying on and joking, and somebody comes over to us and is like, hey, are you guys the Mile High Game guys? And it was like, yeah, we are. He's like, oh, I love your show. And like, honey, come over here. It's the Mile High Game guys. And that was Michael, who I haven't heard from in a while. I don't know if he still listens to the show. I assume he does. I hope he does.
Once you're in, you're never out.
Because he was, like I said, he was the first person, and so far the only person, to really recognize us at a con who didn't know us beforehand.
Right. By voice alone.
Yeah, like he just overheard us and was like, I know those voices. Probably helped that like we were that Genghis is a Denver convention, so we were here in Denver, and he knew we were Denver. But no, like it was a surreal moment because I was still very early in the show, and it was like
8 months into it.
Yeah, I was like,
So-
we have real listeners who are people we don't know who
Yeah.
are like excited to see us in person. What? So yeah, Michael, if you're listening, dude, thank you. That was a fantastic experience, and really appreciate that. So, what about you guys, Jeff? What is your weirdest, awkwardest, whatever gaming experience?
I think we were at Klein's Beer Hall.
Okay.
Someone had brought their brother.
Oh yeah, I know where this is going.
I don't remember much, but I remember he was really weird.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
the person who brought him like kept, being like, hey, brother's a little weird, just kind of roll with it. It was like, oh god, you're real weird.
He had a kilt or skirt on. I'm not sure which one it was. Wanted to play Cards Against Humanity, so that's like strike 2.
That was well after Cards Against Humanity had died in our group.
Yeah. That was probably the weirdest person, pretty much by far.
Yeah. Zach, what about you? What's your worst / most bizarre experience?
I think worst is just sort of like the one night Ultimate Werewolf that I was playing a couple times that I was just like everybody just immediately just tried to, like I said, just tried to deduce everything.
Now, was that with strangers
It
or
was
random
some
meetup?
strangers. It was,
Okay.
but there's also 2 people I really do not like playing games with who are also in there, and they definitely put their personalities in the forefront. Forefront. There we go.
Mm-hmm.
Into the forefront of the game, and it just the entire thing. I was just like, I want to leave this as soon as possible.
Make it end.
That's why as soon as they're like, and we have deduced that Zach is the werewolf, and I was like,
All right, we're
All right.
over here.
okay,
Your logic is sound.
Yeah, your
and
logic
now
is-
I can leave.
yeah.
Quick mystery.
The weirdest one / it was like a guy that used to come to our gaming group when we were playing werewolves. Whenever the Cupid would come out,
Oh, yeah.
When what would come out?
when Cupid would come out in Werewolf,
Oh, yeah.
one, it always people like you could tell if Cupid was a new person or not, because if like Cupid points at 2 people and they become lovers.
Zach-
If like me and Adrian would
Zach
open
and
up
I
our
are
eyes,
regularly lovers in Werewolf.
yeah, we'd be like, okay, it's somebody who actually knows the group and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And then, but one of the guys was playing, and I don't remember how it originally came up, but I remember hearing from somebody or something that was basically like he didn't like how our group like did same sex.
Lovers.
Lovers.
Like regularly. Like our group, like regularly, it's like me and Zach or Zach and Bob, and some of
Allison
it's not,
and Megan or something. Yeah,
it's not even necessarily like they're trying to pick same-sex couples for any kind of same-sex thing.
Mhm.
It's just pairs of friends who they think it's funny that they're lovers.
Yeah,
And it just regularly ends up being same-sex stuff. And this guy was like really offended by it.
Yeah.
He's like,
because he was very Christian,
like,
and I was like,
which I was surprised how often he came to, because apparently he had a big problem with drinking too. But
Yeah.
we've always been at bars and breweries.
yes,
So. He doesn't come anymore. That's okay.
yeah, also sort of weird.
Yeah, also an interesting individual.
There were definitely like 5 people that I would try to avoid playing games with, that if they like would get into a game, I would somehow get myself out of the game, but not make it seem like I left because they
Except now you know what you've just done is like everybody who listens to the show at game night,
Uh-huh.
anytime you turn down a game, they're going to be like, am I one of the people Zach doesn't like?
You'll never know.
You'll never know. I mean, I'll tell you this. if I'm just nice to you, I'm like, okay, hi, nice to. All right, but like if I don't talk shit with you or anything like that, then you will know.
If Zach is nice to you, he is. Sweet, so we're actually best friends
Yeah,
still.
yeah,
Okay, cool.
yeah.
I was worried. I thought you just hated me now.
I mean, it's a little bit both, but
Keeps it authentic.
yeah.
Indeed.
Right on. Third up from Kamil.
The third up from Kamil is describe the moment when you realize a game is not for you or is simply bad. He didn't ask it. It's not a question, so it works okay.
Well, I mean, the second one wasn't a question either.
I know,
We
no.
answered that.
I know. I'm saying, but they are both stated as not questions.
Oh, okay.
So tell us or describe, not can you describe?
It varies heavily from game to game. I mean, there's some games where, like, you know, on Wednesday's episode, we talked about they have announced the new Eric Lang game, Death May Die, which is a cooperative Cthulhu game from Eric Lang. Like, that just sets off so many "this game is not for me" alarm bells that, like, I just know immediately. You know, other times there's been games where, you know, and this happens less and less now, but, you know, back when I was first getting into board games, you know, somebody describe a game and I'd be like, oh, that sounds kind of cool, let's try it. And then, you know, a few turns in usually is where it's like, oh, yeah, no, this one isn't going to work. Still happens occasionally. Played Lignum not too long ago, kind of a heavy game. I did it on a live stream, and I had a lot of fun on the live stream, but, like, towards the end of the game when we were doing final thoughts on it, like, there's a lot I like about it, but it's definitely still just one that's not quite for me. It's not the kind of heavy that I like.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but that one took a good chunk of the game for me to really coalesce that the game just wasn't quite for me.
Right.
What about you, Zach? I know you pretty famously say that you tend to know after one full play, and you'll usually give a second, but you can tell after two plays whether.
Well,
you're
I mean,
interested.
I mean, I can use. I mean, there's been a lot of games where it's been like halfway through. I can tell I don't like it. Usually, it's just like the easiest ones are ones where I just don't feel engaged at all. That the game never pulls me in. It just feels like I'm doing the mechanisms or whatever it is. Whether if it's because it's too random or it just feels too much of a puzzle or it's too indirect or like I don't have anything hard and fast for those. You know, hard and set rather. But usually, like the first one is like I'm learning the game, and then the second one is all right. I've got the game down. Is there anything else here that I didn't see? Usually there's not, but sometimes there are. But it's just one of those things where it's just I can like when I feel disengaged from the game is usually when I'm like, okay, there isn't enough here to keep me interested.
Yeah, that's another one that I've noticed. Like, if I find myself regularly reaching for my cell phone, then it's probably a good hint that the game's not quite for me. Jeff?
Magic the Gathering. When
The moment you hear you have to buy booster packs, you just know it's not
I
for you.
used to, but then it got out of fucking control. I had a significant other's brother who was super into it, and the amount of money he was spending on the game to make competitive decks was just fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like $450, $500 to get a deck, and it can go way higher than that. And then I was just like, never again.
Never again.
Never
Gotcha.
again. Hearthstone's where it's at. I can spend $100 on that.
And then you're good.
And then I'm good.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all I need.
And last up from Kamil.
If you had to choose one, which Monty Python character would be your spirit animal?
Character.
Well, mine's easy. I'm clearly Brave Sir Robin.
Uh-huh.
I have no explanation for that other than the fact that I love the Brave Sir Robin song. Zach? Jeff?
I don't know. It's been so long since I've seen a lot of those.
Jeff, if you say the Black Knight, I'm going to freak out.
Why?
You're better than that.
I get all my arms and legs cut off, and then I call it a draw.
Yeah. I mean, that's the first thing I think of when I think of Jeff.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
I lost my arm earlier today, but
just saw that you were rapidly searching Black Knight on your tablet. And I was like, you're going to say Black Knight, aren't you?
indeed,
Interesting
all-
that so
how
far
about-
two of us have chosen from Holy Grail.
because it has the best characters in it.
And I also don't remember. I mean, I did love Life of Brian and The Meaning of Life. I don't know what any of the characters are. How about that cop at the end of the movie that's just like, I'm gonna arrest you, and then
Fun's over.
be a literal cop out.
That does sound like Zach.
Yeah.
Fun's over. Right on. Well, thanks, Kamil, for the questions there.
Yep.
And now we get to move on to the next round of questions.
We're gonna get called on a bunch of shit.
Yep. We're ready to answer for our crimes.
Yeah.
You all deserve it.
This is from Mark. Whatever happened to putting playthrough videos on YouTube?
So that's still in the works. We definitely still want to do that. The new mixing board that I mentioned that we got on Wednesday is a big step in that direction. It has more mic inputs. I'm going to be for the D&D show that I'm starting. We're buying a bunch of new lapel mics.
Yeah.
Which will also be very instrumental. Like, that's the problem. For a long time, the mixing board we had and the mics we have are fine for podcasting, but it'd be really hard to play a board game on this table right now with these mics and everything here. So we're making steps in that direction. I have a pretty good camera that does HD video. I've got a GoPro, and so we're significantly closer. At this point, the few things for the equipment we have now, I just need to figure out a way to actually make it work. Which probably won't happen in the next couple months while I'm in this apartment. When Megan and I move, I'm definitely going to, we're looking at houses right now. One of the key things I'm looking for is having a space that I can turn into a full studio similar to what Heavy Cardboard does.
Yeah.
Not going to try and copy Heavy Cardboard. We're clearly not Heavy Cardboard, as people who listen to both can attest.
Because they are clearly not the most podcast.
No, they are not the most podcast. They're actually professional and care about quality and stay on topic.
Staying on topic does not equal quality.
Those are two separate. I didn't say they were the same thing. They can be, but they don't have to be. But I really like the way Edward has the table set up and the cameras for really capturing, I feel, like a stream. I think he set that bar really high. It sucks going there and doing streams and being like, oh man, it's gonna be real hard to do a stream and not have this awesome quality. That's definitely, we're going to start nowhere near that quality, but
I mean, and I will say, for me, Jeff, knowing that when you first came to us about getting the new audio thing, it definitely felt a little bit like Heavy Cardboard sort of did this. Let's do this too.
Yeah.
But you explained yourself out of it. So
yes, thankfully I'm good at explaining things. But no, they are coming. It's just, it has proven harder than I anticipated it would be.
And we hit our goal quicker than we thought.
Yes.
And life also just got, because you
two of us lost jobs.
Two of us lost jobs, had different jobs that take a lot more out.
Yes.
Jeff, technically all of us had.
Some of us had jobs before we left the previous job.
Oh, look at you being an adult.
Lottie fucking da.
Yeah.
And for that matter, we did record one playthrough. We did a Twilight Imperium playthrough.
Yeah.
That we have a bunch of video for, but it's terrible.
Because
it's real bad.
It's almost episode 0 bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What it was is that Adrian's thing didn't. It can it flip?
I mean,
over?
even aside from that, yes, that flips over. But
the fact that we didn't flip it over meant that nobody knew where they were in frame, and it did not. Favorite part is that we had two people talking to each other. You could see like half of one and a quarter of the other, and then it was just a big blank space in the middle. And I'm like, yeah, all right.
Yeah. So we have tried. And it's just been terrible, and we weren't willing. We're not going to put out terrible content.
We already did that once.
Yeah, well, we've done that a few times.
Yeah.
We're past that.
Yeah.
Some say we're doing it to this day.
We want to put out,
this is consistent. This is consistent quality.
and at a minimum, it's mediocre.
Yes.
It's consistent, and it's at least mediocre.
Yeah.
And so we're sticking with that. So that's what happened with playthrough videos. That is easily my next major goal for the show, so that's coming. I just got to find a way to make it happen.
Yeah, it really just couldn't happen that well at our current location. So
correct. Next, call us on our shit. Thank you, Mark.
Next one. Did you stop playing Time Stories or just stop doing Time Stories recap episodes? In either case, why? I know. So our first recap episodes were with Megan.
Yes.
And they recorded at like episodes 4 and 5-esque time.
Yes.
Yeah.
So when we did Time Stories initially, that was at a point early, and some people I know we lost some listeners over this. They liked our early stuff where we were a little bit shorter, a lot shorter, like regularly under an hour short for an entire
half of one of our episodes short.
For like,
Yeah.
and that was including like what have we been playing, a quick review and a quick discussion, all in like less than an hour, and then.
How?
We got comfortable behind mics.
We didn't realize how we could talk. That's what it was.
Ugh.
We got better at talking more
Yes.
That is what we got better at.
What we do now is that we just put both weeks' content into one episode and just turn it into a 3-hour episode.
Some people have said to do that.
Yeah.
I mean,
We left that.
yeah, that we have moved beyond that. Just every other year. So at the 2-year we'll merge them again, and then at the 3-year we'll split them, and then merge them, and then split them.
But they grow by an hour and a half each time.
So it'll be a 4.5 hour long one episode,
Uh-huh.
and then it'll be 2 3-hour long episodes.
Yeah. But anyway, to actually answer the question, so yes, that was back at a time
Still
when,
with the 2-day turnaround.
Oh,
yeah,
God.
yeah. All right.
No.
What we do is then we just stop editing.
Yeah.
Because we'll be so good we don't even have to edit.
Yes. That's clearly what's happened.
Yeah.
We've gotten so good we don't hardly edit anymore.
Never.
But no, that was at a time when we were able to play a Time Stories mission
Before the episode.
before we started recording, then record,
Or after
Or
the
after.
episode.
or after sometimes. Now recording regularly takes our entire Monday evenings.
6 hours.
Going into Tuesday morning.
Yeah.
The idea behind it wasn't abandoned. Like, we still want to do Time Stories episodes. We really enjoy Time Stories.
I think one of us owns all of Time Stories.
And the next major problem that came up is we started those with Megan, and we really wanted to keep her involved in those. It's one area of the show where she's actually interested in being involved, which I love because I really appreciate some of her insights and opinions on board games. And she then left to Saudi for a year.
Yep.
And then she came back and was here for like a couple months, and then went to Seattle for 3 months, and then came back for like a week, and then went to New Mexico. She is now finally back. She has completed training and orientation at her new job that has a 2-year contract. And so now it's just a matter of scheduling the 4 of us to play and record again.
Which we have a lot of stuff also going on.
Yes. So that'll
And so it's
probably looking at, for that one, we're looking towards the end of June. Give Megan, like, she just got out of orientation, so give her a little bit to get settled in her job. Give us a chance to wrap up conventions.
Yeah.
Because we're like going to be doing conventions for the foreseeable summer, or trying to, at least in some way, shape, or form. But then we do want to get back to that. So Time Stories are not gone. We just need to get back to doing them.
Yeah.
It's right there.
Yeah. It's right
Yeah,
there.
they're right here. They're here in the room.
We currently played 3 of them, but
we will probably replay
we're
the
gonna
third.
we're gonna replay the dragons one.
Replay and re-record.
Well, did we even record
Yes.
that one?
Yes.
Did we?
Pretty sure. Maybe
I don't
not.
think we. I don't
Oh,
think we
maybe
did.
I don't think we did.
But yeah, so those will be coming back at some point.
Would you ever consider adding re-review episodes? Once every few weeks, instead of a new game review, you would briefly go over 3 or 4 or 5 games that you've reviewed in the past and let us know if/how/why your opinions have changed.
So, Mark, I appreciated you calling us on our shit in the first 2. I do not appreciate you so presciently looking into the future.
Yeah, it's rude. We have our own plans, and I don't like that you're just like, I'm going to look straight in and talk about what they want to do.
Yes. So, congratulations to anybody listening to this episode, because I'm going to answer this question. And so this is going to be a spoiler for the future. But that's going to be the next thing we add in year 3 of the show. When we do our 2-year anniversary, we were going to announce, if Mark had not asked this very insightful question, we were going to announce that was the thing we wanted to do, is that starting in...
Because we keep trying to do 1 or 2 new things every year.
Yeah, we want to keep adding new things to the show that are interesting. And one of the things we figured is that, being able to go back and look at games we reviewed, and you even kind of nailed the format. Like, we're going to probably do it as a, once every 10 episodes. We haven't fully hashed it out.
Well, because it's either doing something like that or like every month, like on a Wednesday episode, instead of talking about news or Kickstarter or something like that, go in and spend 5 or 10 minutes on a couple, on each game or something like that.
Yeah, but we definitely want to go back and address a lot of those, because our opinions have changed and consolidated and coalesced. And some games that we reviewed back in the day we still play, and some we reviewed back in the day we don't, and we want to kind of talk about that.
Yes.
So, very insightful, Mark. Next from Mark.
Will you be doing a recap episode or 2 for Pandemic Legacy Season 2, a la Season 1? If so, can you tell us when?
Whenever we get around to playing Pandemic Legacy Season 2.
Because
That's a yes
all of
and no.
all of these fuckers here were like, we're going to go snowboarding. So basically, once winter came around, it really hurts the weekends.
Yes.
And it also doesn't help that we have 2 different groups, both with 4 players. and trying to
Scheduling's a bitch.
Yes.
And then we have 2 other games that we have some players from some groups and
Exactly.
others from others that want to play more than Pandemic Legacy Season 2,
Yeah.
like Kingdom Death Monster and Gloomhaven.
Yep. And then Charterstone and all that stuff.
Yep.
So
Well, we haven't even. We're not starting Charterstone until.
no,
we
but
finish
I'm saying
Pandemic.
wanting to play like
Yes.
so.
The one that I can say that I remember we mentioned that I'm pretty sure at this point we will probably not ever get back to is Seafall.
Yes.
Seafall just did not capture us. I don't think any of us have a strong desire to go back to Seafall.
Mm-mm. Especially with all the other things we'd rather play. That's I think that's mainly what if that was like the only legacy one, maybe we'd been like, all right, let's see what's in here. But it was like
I think my favorite response was to Seafall was someone asking if it was worth $12, and they're like, "How much time is how much is your
how much is
time worth?" Yeah.
Next.
Adrian. So this is for you, Jeff.
Okay.
You've talked about enjoying some heavy games solo, e.g. A Feast for Odin. Have you played any solo-only games, e.g. Hostage Negotiator, Friday, the Oniverse games? If yes, any thoughts?
Yes. So I own Friday, and I occasionally do play Friday. I like it. You know, it's pretty good. Oniverse, is that the one that has the app? The Onitama app? I rage uninstalled that app. That one pissed me off so much.
I really like that app.
Yeah. Really, I think Friday and the digital version of Onitama are the only solo-only games I've played. I have some interest in it, but not in, like, Friday was an interesting one because it was kind of a shorter, easier one, and I'd been hearing really good things. I don't have a lot of time to dedicate to solo gaming, and when I already have other games that play solo that I enjoy solo, it's not really a priority for me. A lot of these games, I play them solo when they're new and I'm learning them because it's a good way to kind of understand the mechanisms. And it's like, oh, that was actually kind of fun doing it solo. I'll do it a couple more times. All right, now I understand it, and now I can teach it. A good exception to that, though, is like Terraforming Mars. It took me a long time to try solo. I was like, there's no way solo is going to be any fun. I fucking love Terraforming Mars solo. It's real good. So, yeah, not many solo-only ones that stand out and seem interesting to me, though. A big part of my board gaming is definitely playing with other players.
I think that's a major thing for me is that I have so many video games that I'd want to play that if I'm going to be playing a game by myself, I would rather do that, I think.
Yeah. Especially the longer the time commitment.
Yeah.
You know, like Friday is nice because it's a small footprint. So, like, I can take Friday with me when I travel. So if I'm stuck in an airport or, you know, a train station or something, I've got the ability to play something there when I might not otherwise have access to, like, my PC games.
Right.
I'm not really a mobile gamer. I don't have any games on my phone. You know, I'd rather play something small there. But hell, at that point, like, I play solitaire a fair amount just with a deck of cards, like regular. Yeah, so
I think it also doesn't help with like phones. There's so many games you can get on those too that if you're just like sitting around, you can play like Onitama and some of those other ones that they're not necessarily solo. Not Onitama, but like Star Realms and stuff like that, where it's like you're playing against an AI or something, and so it's like because it's digital, it's a lot easier.
yes,
And so you don't have to set up a whole bunch of shit.
correct. Next up from Mark.
What's the employment and apartment status for the three of you? It seems like every month somebody's getting fired or thrown out of an apartment or some other traumatic life event.
So I will start. My employment status is that I am now working. I am employed. I am primarily working at Epic. That is increasing. It went from being like, oh, I'm going to work here like 3, maybe 4 days a week to like, I'm just there 5 days a week now. It has absorbed me. I am still applying to other jobs that seem interesting / pay more. That's the big one, pay more. I like money. I also do a handful of freelance stuff. I built a website for a dude for a little bit of money, and I'm still trying to vaguely get into some voiceover work, especially now that like I continue to upgrade the studio here, and I have all this fancy audio equipment. It'd be fantastic if it could make me some money. I recorded an audiobook. It's real bad. I did a pseudonym. Not going to say anything more than that.
It's a bad book.
The name of the book is...
the book's bad. I wasn't super thrilled with narration. It was my first time narrating a full audiobook. That was a chore, and I think it showed. So, but still otherwise want to do other kinds of voiceover narration type stuff. So, yeah. And then apartment status, I am month to month on my current apartment because, as I mentioned, I believe earlier, Megan and I are currently shopping for homes, which is a whole new ball of stress that I did not even know existed. Denver's expensive, and finding homes that aren't just fucking garbage that we can actually even consider affording is stressing both of us. And Megan's on night shifts, so she's extra stressed. It's been fantastic.
Come Northwest.
I mean, that's like, yeah, Arvada is one of the few places that regularly has homes in our price range.
Yep.
My
Yeah.
property management company sucks balls.
Mm-hmm.
So Jeff, so how about move to you? So first, before you get into apartment management sucking balls,
Yeah.
he asked employment first. Employment status.
Still working at Epic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Still,
You're Adrian's boss, right?
I am Adrian's boss.
Shipping overlord, I believe is your title.
Yes. Yeah.
Ish.
Warehouse overlord.
Warehouse overlord.
Warehouse overlord.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Have been employed for many years consecutively.
Yeah, Jeff has not had a period of unemployment,
No.
really, like
I-
others have.
God, did I ever get fired from anything? No.
Oh, look at Jeff.
Yeah.
Model worker here.
And then my property management company didn't send me any information about my lease was ending at the end of like May 1st, April 30th to May 1st. Lease was over. I had heard nothing from them for a month. Besides like, hey, here's your renewal notice. And then we're like, hey, we'd like to renew. We'd like to renew. We'd like to renew. No calls, no nothing. No emails responded to. Their phone system went to a voicemail only system now, where they'll like, oh, we'll contact you back within 24 hours. And that never happened. You can never talk to a live person. You can only leave a voicemail and they can only call you back, which is horseshit.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, that's real bad.
Especially because this property management company just owns like different like houses they rent out.
Yeah,
they
yeah.
don't really have like an apartment complex office. And then they finally got back to us, 4.5 hours before midnight on April 30th.
Mhm.
That we're going to like month to month and they're not going to raise the rent and until 2019 and they'll give us 30 days. And then I'm like, fuck you, I'm out of here at the end of May. And so now I'm going to be living somewhere else by the end of May.
Originally looking towards renting a room with me.
Yeah.
And I forgot that I promised somebody else that room 5 months before that.
Uh-huh. Yes. And we had only been talking about it for at least a month and a half to 2 months.
Yeah.
Such a good friend, Zach.
Yeah. It's
But you've sorted that out and you have a new place to live now.
Well, I have a new temporary place to live now.
yes, there you go.
Yes.
Oh, I thought you'd.
That is not a
Come to-
permanent
oh.
option.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But it is close to work.
There you go. For me, I'm a Lyft driver for now, but I'm looking to transition back to actual work.
Actual work.
Yeah. Because it's not really actual work.
It's just driving around.
Yeah, it's just driving around, which I like driving around, but
And you, have
lack
a,
consistency is annoying.
and you have a basement apartment in a
I d-
house
I do.
with a cat
Yeah.
and a lot of cans.
I need to clean up. I will be getting, like I was saying, I will be getting a roommate in the next couple weeks. Not weeks, couple months. So it will. I think that's going to be good for me.
Yeah.
Uh,
Having another human live with you can help.
Yes.
Right on. So there you go, guys. Like you said, open books. There's our
Mhm.
employment and apartment status for all three of us.
There you go.
Hopefully no traumatic life events coming anytime soon on the immediate radar.
No.
I mean,
But
Yeah.
Annoyances.
those do seem to pop up without warning sometimes.
Yeah.
yeah, I was 1 second away from a major life event change.
Yeah. So, that
One more.
one more from Mark.
Yep. Once again to Adrian. How long have you and Megan been together? Is she ever going to pop the question and make an honest man out of you?
Winky face.
So we have been together for just over 5 years. Our 5-year anniversary was April 10th. She is by far and away the longest relationship that I've had, and vice versa. I'm the longest relationship she's had. She is not going to pop the question. She has made that very clear. She is just traditional enough. She wants me to do that. But we are on the same page in regard to all that. We've got some other things we want to sort out in our lives first before we make that commitment. Both of us have parents who divorced, and grandparents who divorced. And so there's a lot of divorce in both our families. And so we are approaching marriage very practically. And yeah, so it's not an immediate thing, but it is rapidly coming. I've noticed since the 5-year anniversary, she has stepped up references to marriage-related things. I think she's starting to slowly hint that she's getting about ready for that nonsense to be over and done with.
Hey, Adrian, this thing sounds really cool, but it's only for married couples.
Yeah. That and also buying a house together. I think making big decisions like that, she's like, some of this would be easier if we were just married. Yeah, well, do you want my credit, hon? No, didn't think so. So, yes, marriage is definitely in our future. That much is certain.
Well, there we go. Cheers. MJ.
Thank you for calling us on all of our shit.
Yes.
We'll use it as motivation.
I do it all the time. They just don't listen to me.
Yeah, we've learned to tune Jeff out.
Next question is from Ant. Where's game night next week?
I don't know. Next question.
All right. Next one is from Andrew. Pick the best one of you for each of these. Person to call in the middle of the night to talk about shit.
I feel like Zach with his sultry voice would be great to call.
I
in the
wouldn't
late
want
night.
that. I wouldn't want that.
Hello, Jeffrey.
No.
I'm going to vote for me then.
Definitely Zach. Definitely Zach.
Adrian, podcast vote.
Podcast
Yeah.
vote. I gotta be on a podcast vote.
Now I know how it feels.
I can't do that too many times or else you guys are going to be like, podcast vote, no more podcast votes. Person to help me kidnap a school mascot. I'm going to go with Jeff on that.
I'm not sure how good I am at like
because you'll be distracting everybody with your hair. They won't notice us actually stealing the mascot.
But to help him though.
Oh, that's true.
I'm not,
Help Andrew. I don't know.
I'm not good at heists. I guess. I don't know. Maybe.
Have you guys have assuming statute of limitations has run out? Have you guys ever stolen anything?
Yes, I stole a Lifesavers thing when I was 6, and I felt like shit. And after a week, I brought it back.
So not Zach.
Exactly.
So not Zach.
Haunting. It's haunted him ever since. I haven't had lifesavers in a while. They're delicious.
I like that you stole a lifesaver and then didn't eat it for a week.
Oh no, it literally was on my shelf for a week, and I was just like, I still remember what I imagined the guy looking at me when I was walking out of there with stealing it. Yeah. Obviously, I didn't go, I'm sorry, sir, I stole this. I just went back, put it there, and I was like, okay, now it's all good.
Just put it back on the shelf.
Yeah, I put it back on the shelf.
You fucked with their inventory
Yeah.
so much.
Yep.
Because they definitely did inventory after you stole it. They're like,
Where did you steal this from?
This is somewhere in a Conoco in Douglasville, Georgia.
No one's counting the lifesavers.
No, I understand that. I understand. It was fucking 99-cent thing.
Yeah, it's.
Oh.
Guess what? Fucking 7-year-old me didn't know that. I felt his eyes burning into my soul.
So it's probably going to be Jeff or I.
Yeah.
I think that I would take. Well, no. For now, I would give the hair to Jeff because he actually has a working vehicle.
Yeah, that's the thing.
I don't.
But,
and if you're
but it
someone
gets
having a
keeping him
mascot,
pulled over. So
It's true.
I mean,
Very
I guess
true.
realistically, my vehicles both work as well as Jeff's. I just stopped driving them when my tags
I mean, you
became
could just use
expired.
Megan's car, and then you're fine.
I could do the Subi, yeah. And the Subi probably is more reliable for a getaway vehicle
Yeah.
than
And you are
your
now
car.
licensed to be able to drive a motor vehicle.
Yeah.
True. My license is now reinstated. I actually
Indeed.
got it in the mail the other day.
All right. So it's Adrian
Sure.
for having a working car. Person to babysit little kids for a few hours.
Out.
None of us.
Punch out.
Dude,
Hard.
none of us.
I will.
Maybe Zach? Zach, do you do babies well?
Would you like to rephrase that question, Adrian?
Zach, so Jeff and I are both clearly out of this.
Uh-huh.
So how are you with children? Could you be trusted
Honestly,
to babysit little kids for
it
a
would
few
have to be
hours?
it depends on how old they are. Maybe 3 or 4 and up. But like, if you're like, look after my toddler or this baby then I'd just be like I'll just stare at it and it stares at me and I'm like, this is the worst.
If the child is not old enough to have a somewhat logical conversation,
Yeah.
I want nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
Let's say putting batteries back in a spaceship.
Good reference.
Best wingman on a night out.
I've never had to play wingman.
I have not either.
I've been a decent wingman in the past, but that was back before I was in a 5-year relationship. So I'm rusty at the pickup game. There have been entire apps that are better wingman than I ever will be
No.
that have been embedded since I was last single.
I'm gonna say Jeff just because I remember when we had going at conventions and stuff. Jeff was like, "Oh, look!" I was like, "Look, it's all those famous people," and you're like, "I'm gonna go talk to them."
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a
hello.
good point. It's
Yeah.
definitely
Yeah.
Jeff.
Okay. I'm sociable.
Yeah.
I can start conversations and keep conversations
Exactly.
going with complete strangers.
Yep.
There you go.
That I know almost nothing about
Yep.
besides they made that one game that was really good.
Yep.
Do you have any other interests? Oh, just board games? Weird. All right. Let's just keep talking about that over and over again.
Next, who could go the longest without drinking alcohol? Who would crack first?
Alcohol, period. Not me. I'm out. Tap out.
I feel like I could probably.
I think it's probably Zach.
Yeah. I'm not much of a heavy drinker. It's on a rare occasion that I have a hangover.
Yeah, I don't typically get drunk. I actively dislike being drunk.
But I think Adrian would crack first.
I just love the taste of beer. Like, if you could give me beer that was 0 alcohol and, like, low calories that still actually tasted good, not fucking M64 or whatever Michelob's bullshit low-calorie beer is. You know, if you give me good tasting beer that was low calorie, low alcohol, or no alcohol, I'd drink the shit out of that. I'd quit drinking alcohol in a heartbeat if I could get the taste of beer without the alcohol.
I don't think I could do that, but, you know.
Beer is my soda. Next up.
Someone to piss in a cup to help me pass a drug test.
Definitely me.
Yeah, it's
Out of all three of us,
It's definitely
all of us.
Yeah.
Well,
no, we.
the two of you have done illicit drugs far more recently than me.
True.
Plus,
But those aren't a thing.
now to be fair, who has most recently had to piss in a cup
In a cup, I
or do a piss test?
The last time I had to do
want to say 5.5 years ago when I started working.
For the city?
Maybe. I don't even know if I did that for them. I don't remember.
I don't remember having to
Or I
do
had to do it for a doctor, maybe.
I definitely have not had to do a drug test since I got out of the Navy in 2007. So it has been over a decade since I had a piss test.
I didn't have to do it when I started working at Duke.
Mhm.
And the last time and really the only time I ever remember is when I had to do a piss test to go work for Games Workshop in 2004.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah.
That's further back than me even.
Yeah.
I'll go with Adrian and then.
And we'd probably
But
be fine.
typically 9 times out of 10, any one of the three of us would be good for it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Would most enjoy playing some bullshit bad game at a con for laughs? I'm going to say me.
If you had
Yeah.
to pick one, it'd be Zach. But as long as I know it's a bullshit game for laughs going in, I can have a lot of fun with a lot of dumb games.
I think you guys did that at Gen Con quite a bit in the games library.
Yeah,
You got some.
Anthony.
Or, no,
Payne.
you know what?
that wasn't.
It was David and Paul,
Yeah,
wasn't
yeah,
it?
yeah.
Yeah. So really, none of us, but our friends that we have.
Yes.
That was the
they're
most
even
current
better.
example of
Yeah.
it happening, but
most likely to make a free throw in basketball.
I still own a shirt that says the sight I love most on a basketball floor is wrestling mats from door to door from when I was a high school wrestler. Because we always wrestled in the gym.
Yeah.
I definitely not me. In other words, I am fucking terrible at basketball.
I could
Probably
probably do it.
Yeah.
We'll have to go to like that one's one where we almost all need to go to like a rec center and throw like 20 and see who
Or
hits
just-
the most out of 20.
Or just one.
The
And
first
then-
to hit one.
The one.
First to make one.
Yep. Who'd do best trying to finish a food eating challenge?
Depends on the food.
Well,
Well, if it's speed,
speed or
Volume.
volume or spiciness.
yeah.
Those are all food challenges.
Adrian would win for speed.
Yeah.
Yes, I eat real fast.
Yeah, it
I would definitely lose for speed.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Volume.
Volume, it would depend on the food. Like, I can eat a fuck ton of pizza for some weird reason, but other things, like,
yeah, no, like wings, I can just eat so.
Yeah.
yeah, whereas I eat, like, 6 to 8 wings, and I'm, like, pretty good. Or, like, I can eat, like, 3 rolls of sushi.
Rolls of sushi? You ate 3 rolls?
No, so I normally only eat 3 rolls of sushi.
Okay.
Like-
a tube of sushi.
Yeah.
All right.
Mhm.
That's
Like
a lot of sushi.
Like, when Megan and I go out for sushi, we have a rule that typically we allow 2 rolls per person. Sometimes if we both agree that we are both hungry enough, we will add 1 additional roll. So when we go out for sushi, we order a max of 5 rolls. But yeah, so let's do food. Let's finish this up. So I would win for speed.
Mm-hmm.
Who would win for quantity?
It's hard to
Who's
say.
consistent quantity? Nobody's
know.
going to claim it?
No, I don't.
Okay. Spiciness.
You like spiciness, Jeff?
I don't go nuts
Definitely
on it, though.
between Zach and
Yeah,
Jeff.
it would not be you.
No. I like spicy, but spicy fucks me
I'd
up.
probably give it to Zach.
Okay.
Yeah.
Slight edge on that one, yeah. Bonus questions. What games are currently at the top of your wish list to acquire?
Brass, because Roxley will maybe someday deliver that game to me. I would really like to acquire that since I've paid for it over a year ago. Arkwright, I would like to own. I should probably play it first, and I will play it first. It's not one I'm just going to buy off the shelf, but I feel like I might like Arkwright. Yeah, I don't know. There's not a lot. I recently made major strides in my wish to acquire list. So I don't know. What about you, Zach? Any that immediately jump to mind?
I mean, I think the only things that to acquire would just be my Kickstarter games, like the new expansion and Dualosaur Island for Dinosaur Island. I'd like to get my hands on those. I feel like there's something in the back of my mind, but I can't think of anything right now. I don't have anything that's like I'm waiting for this
that I'm aware of yet.
Yeah. Anything for you, Jeff?
I mean, there's always Star Wars Rebellion, Kingdom Death Monster, and everything involved. If it cost me no money.
Okay, I would agree with that. Yeah,
just to own all of that.
If Dan was like, "Here you go, Jeff.
Here's like $2,300
Yep.
worth of game stuff." Yeah, but nothing really off the top of my head.
All right.
And I'm really like, yeah, I need to play this.
Next one. Are you all still enjoying making the show?
I know I am.
I am.
Yes.
Sometimes it gets a little worky, but if I ever stopped enjoying it, that's something I would definitely have to sit down with Zach and Jeff and be like, guys, this is no longer fun for me.
Mm-hmm.
What can we either do to fix that, or be like, do you guys want to have a podcast without me?
We're just going to
This
show up.
needs to be about Food Chain 24/7, or else I can't continue.
Oh God, no. Even I love Food Chain. It's my number one game. Even I would not ever want that.
It's like one of those podcasts that reviews the same movie every episode.
That is.
Oh my God.
Next one. If you could hang out with a currently living person all day and they were cool with just having some beers and talking openly about their life, who would you pick?
Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah?
Probably.
So why?
I don't know.
Elaborate a little bit.
He seems like a cool guy.
Yeah.
Him or, you know what? John C. Reilly.
Ooh, John C. Reilly.
That's a good pick.
John C.
Yeah.
Reilly would be a blast, I feel like, to have
Yeah.
a
He seems
beer
like a
with.
cool guy. He's a funny guy. He does drama. He does comedy. He's done interesting things. I mean, he's Steve fucking Brule.
Mm-hmm.
Like, can we just talk about Steve Brule for a while?
Zach?
Honestly, I think for me, like right now, it might be Paul F. Tompkins. You know who he is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool guy.
He's a cool guy. A lot of the podcasts that I listened to recently, he's always been like the best parts of them.
Okay.
And when he's talking on his podcast, when he's talking to people, it always seems like they're having a great time. And it seems like, and also in his comedy specials, he's fucking amazing at telling stories. And so hearing some of that shit would be cool.
I've enjoyed a lot of his comedy.
Yeah.
Well, shit, you guys make me feel like stodgy with my answer. And it's hard because there's a couple different like solid options for me depending on like my mood at the time.
Uh-huh.
But ever since I watched my next the new Letterman show, My Next Guest Needs No Introduction.
Yeah.
Like something about that, and I've wondered about this a lot, like considering how much Obama has disappeared from like politics after he left office. Like that dude like pieced out like presidents haven't normally done, at least in my experience. I think it'd be kind of cool to sit down and Obama he's always seemed to me like the kind of guy you could actually have a beer and bullshit with. And I think he would have some interesting perspectives on things.
No, I mean, I think that's a great choice. Next one, Adrian. So I'm new to Food Chain Magnet. Is $12 a good score?
In round 1 or 2.
And he didn't. I mean,
if you can get $12 in round 1, you're either cheating or doing something I didn't know was possible. Means you're probably cheating. Round 2, maybe. No, I don't think you can really make money until round 3.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, if you can have $12 by round 3, yes, that's a good score.
what about
At
if
the
it's
end
at
of the game?
the end of the game?
No, it's better
No.
than 0, which I have also scored in online Food Chain Magnate. So yeah.
So so this is Adrian's new high, apparently.
$12.
It might be online. No, I think I did better than that in my first online game.
Last question. Another number 4.
I didn't notice that either.
Is this a question? Yes.
Indeed. Congratulations, Andrew. You understand how questions work.
That
Yes.
bar, you have risen above it.
Yes.
Something we all learned in grade school.
Mm-hmm.
You have mastered.
Yep. Next one is from Wally. He asks, or he says, so in more or less your own words, Adrian's the heavy gamer, Zach's the thematic gamer, and Jeff is what the fuck ever gamer.
Whatever the fuck, gamer.
Okay.
Sir.
Whatever the fuck gamer. Could Jeff define whatever the fuck means? I know Blood Bowl, but for the non-Blood Bowl listeners, I want to be able to compartmentalize Jeff's preferences in a similarly convenient fashion.
Don't you try to put Jeff in a box. Jeff does not belong in a box. He's a bird, flies free.
I was just thinking more of like a knapsack.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, in preparation for this question, it's hard to say because I'm not a heavy gamer.
Mhm.
I started off with more thematic stuff, but there was a huge chunk in there that was tabletop wargaming
Yeah.
and miniatures and stuff like that, which has kind of turned to a area control dudes on a map love,
Right.
which I don't know what is, those kind of tend to be in either of those categories. The some of my highest rated stuff is almost all
2-player.
not all
okay.
2-player, but all thematic or wargaming. And with things like Kingdom Death Monster and Gloomhaven
Mhm.
and dungeon crawl stuff being pretty up there. Like
Gotcha.
Hero Quest, Descent, Star Wars Imperial Assault, but also some of the big deck builders, of course,
Mhm.
are in
Right.
there. Star Wars Rebellion,
Mhm.
Twilight Imperium,
Twilight Struggle anywhere in there?
Twilight Struggle, yes. I don't know where I have Twilight Struggle, but co-op stuff. It's hard to pin me down.
Yeah, so
but
I
that's kind of where I am.
So I don't think. Yeah, I could see that there might be the inclination to think of us as like 3 points on a triangle,
Mhm.
and I don't think that's the same, or I don't think that's accurate. I think that Zach and I are 2 points on a line, the end points on a line,
Okay.
and Jeff is a sliding scale somewhere in the middle.
But also, you guys don't touch any of my like wargaming,
And that's
stuff.
true.
Yeah.
But
So we're
it's not
like-
something easy to.
So we're not an equilateral triangle. We're like an
Yeah.
oblique triangle.
There you go.
You're being very obtuse.
So it's good luck on figuring out what I am.
He is whatever the fuck.
yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, I hate
it's-
to say it, but that is the most
mean,
convenient
honestly,
way to describe Jeff's gaming
yeah,
taste.
Yeah. Sort of like it's a line, but Jeff is like a hinge on the line, and so it'll move around and do these weird fucking shit things. I don't know.
Have you played Quap?
God, yes.
That's Jeff. Jeff
Yeah.
is Quap.
Because I own Feast for Odin and
Yeah.
Caverna and a lot of those heavier games and
Yeah.
You like Gallerist and Twilight
Yeah.
Struggle. And
wargaming. If
War
you really need
yeah.
to put
and that's really where I normally put Jeff. If I try to
Yeah.
describe the three of us, it's the
Yeah.
thematic gamer, the heavy gamer, the war gamer.
If you're putting Jeff in a corner,
Yes.
it'll be the wargaming corner.
it's gonna be fucking war.
That's why area control at least is like, yeah, because it's sort of like war. And,
Next.
and yet you don't like the War of the card game.
God damn it, Zach.
Weird.
Next.
Craig asks, what are some red flags you watch out for when considering backing a Kickstarter campaign?
Major licenses
Mhm.
or licenses that you haven't seen in a while.
Yeah.
Maybe like an old movie from the 80s, like Evil Dead 2
Yes.
or Rambo, something that hasn't been relevant in quite some time.
Yeah.
I red flags for me are
I know not
no
having
rules,
rules. Yeah.
no rules, or even a description of how the game plays. Like if you can't tell me enough about your game that I understand how it's
Mhm.
going to play on your Kickstarter page, that's a huge red flag. Only having like digital mock-ups of components is a huge one. Like I think we talked about that on one of the Kickstarters on Wednesday. Like they didn't have any good actual images that looked to be of their minis. That looked like it was all just digital renderings. And you can do a lot with a digital rendering. I want to see a picture of a physical object so I know roughly what to expect. And that goes for anything. That goes,
Or
you're-
just all art. Like nothing else in there except just art from the game
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
what we want to make.
yeah. Those, at least for board gaming Kickstarter.
Right.
I mean, for other Kickstarters, there's other red flags.
Yeah.
New designer sometimes, like new creator, like if they have no other projects, I'd say that's more of a yellow than a red. Like that's definitely makes me cautious. Like, has this person ever run a Kickstarter campaign? Do they have any idea? You can read through sometimes like Kickstarter has they make them fill out like risks
Yeah.
section. If you read through that and it's like, and it doesn't actually seem like they really thought about the risks,
Right.
that's a red flag. Yeah. Design. You can tell when somebody actually is like taking the time to actually design a good Kickstarter webpage.
Yeah,
Some
I
of them
think-
are
I
real
think-
shitty.
I think that's one of the main ones for me is that if the Kickstarter itself looks crappy, like it was sort of hastily put together, then I was like, oh, maybe like if they didn't put that much effort in this, they might not have put as much effort into the actual game.
Yep.
I would agree that the new designer is yellow, unless it's a new designer and for whatever reason it's a very popular Kickstarter, that it's vastly over what their funding goal was set as.
Yeah. Once you once you cross like 500%,
Yeah.
or heaven forbid 1,000%,
If you're basically, I would only trust established designers, because once people start going up like that, they start adding a bunch of stretch goals and stuff. It's like, I want it to be from a company or something that actually seems like they had them planned out. Because I know some people hate the like, oh, these are the stretch goals, but they look like they were already planned out. So like, why not just give them all immediately and stuff like that? I'm like, I understand why they're doing that, but at some point, some of the newer people that their game blew up, they start adding stuff that doesn't seem like they're like
they didn't think it through.
Yeah, they didn't think it through.
Any you want to add on there, Jeff, or that pretty much cover it for you?
Yeah.
Right on. Next set of questions.
All right. Next one is from Mike. If you were putting money on winning a board game against your co-hosts and you got to choose the game, what game would each of you pick?
Oh, God.
I would pick Splendor.
Yeah.
I would have picked Splendor for you.
Yes, for you, Splendor, for sure. Wow.
Blood Bowl.
Yep, that'd be a good one for you, Jeff. I feel
Yeah.
like you'd crush us both at Blood
Especially
Bowl.
because you'd be like, I'm going to come with my team. You guys create a team real quick, and then we'll find out.
Just get 840,000 in inducements. Yeah. Like, that's not like just handing me the game.
I know.
Yeah, I don't know. Because as we discussed earlier in the best and worst heavy game moments, Zach's favorite moment was when I was like, God damn it, Zach. How are you so good at games you don't even like? I feel like Zach would beat me at almost any game.
No,
At least
there were some games recently that you were consistently winning on. I don't remember which one it was, though.
yeah, I have done surprisingly well at Terraforming Mars recently.
Uh-huh.
There was something we just reviewed that I won like 2 out of our like 4 games that we all 3 played together. But I don't remember what it is now.
Is it Euphoria?
Yeah, I was doing real good at Euphoria.
At higher player counts.
Yes,
That 3-player one, I smoked you.
that's true. Yeah, I don't know. I'm too inconsistent. Like I'm too inconsistent in regards to Zach. Like, no offense, Jeff. I feel like I could beat you at a fair amount of games. Zach regularly
No
crushes
offense,
me.
Jeff. I'm just gonna leave it blank, and it still applies. That's what it
fair-
sounded like he was saying.
Well, no, I feel like if I pick a game I know I'm good at, like I would probably beat Jeff. But like Zach and Megan and Paul are probably the 3 people that I have lost to the most. The 3 of you are, and makes sense. The 3 of you are like really good at like the kind of analytical games that I like. You know, even if you, like in the case of you, Zach, you don't enjoy them, you're still good at them. Frustrating as that is sometimes. I would not bet money on me winning a board game against the 2 of you.
I mean, I feel like you could put down for Food Chain. I think.
Yeah, I've probably played Food Chain enough now that I
Exactly.
have the edge over both of you.
I would fucking murder both of you in Blood Bowl at the same time.
Oh, yeah, no, I don't
Sure,
doubt
yeah.
that. I don't doubt that.
Are there any cons that are on your bucket lists?
Gen Con.
On your bucket list, you've already been to Gen Con.
I like Gen Con a lot.
Do you understand the concept of a bucket list?
It's
I
a
mean-
list you put in a bucket.
Duh.
Duh.
Essen for me is
yeah,
my
Essen.
bucket
That's what I
list.
figured. Yeah.
Essen for me as well.
I mean, I'd go. I don't know if I think I'd be okay if I never went, but I mean, I'd still want to, but I don't have a burning desire.
Do you have any that you have a
For-
burning desire?
Not really. Maybe like one of the PAX ones. I don't know.
Yeah,
don't-
PAX could be
I
fun.
mean, to
My
be fair, he
problem is
doesn't
that
say
I-
gaming con.
No, I understand that, but like, I don't care about conventions.
Yeah,
From like, anytime I go to convention, I'm never gonna sign up for anything.
fair enough.
I just go to sort of like, I'm going there. Like, I wouldn't go to convention by myself. So
Fair enough.
PAX is pretty cool.
yeah. Can you talk some more about Terraforming Mars? I feel like it's been a while.
You did mention Terraforming Mars in the first of these questions.
Yes,
Yes.
and I know we talked about it on Wednesday's episode.
Yes.
And I know we're going to talk about it more next week,
Yes.
probably. So, Terraforming Mars is great. I still love it. I get into arguments sometimes on Board Game Facebook and Board Game Reddit and sometimes Board Game Geek when people flip out about the components because they're not ideal, but they're also really not that bad.
My answer is yes, we can.
Very literal,
Yes.
Zach. I appreciate it.
Next one. If you had more time / money, what would you like to do with the show?
Video.
Yep, video.
Good video.
We had more time actually getting other people
Yeah.
on the show.
Yeah, having more guests would be
Yeah.
pretty great too.
Last one. Can you play some more win, lose / banana?
Fuck. I meant to have Win, Lose, Banana ready to go.
I know. I thought about it too.
I didn't read this question before just now.
Yeah.
So
I mean, we could do it with paper over there, but
We could.
we
we could, but this is already a long episode,
Yes.
so not tonight.
Yeah.
But yes, we can play more. That's a good call. We can play some more Win Lose Banana on the show.
Yeah. Dude, end of Wednesday next week or whatever. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Well, it might be after the round of conventions.
Yes.
We'll see.
At the convention.
At the conventions.
We will have a portable recorder there.
Yes.
Indeed.
That was from Mike. Next is from Jonathan. We probably already know the answer to this question for Zach, since he's told the story of holding on to Munchkin the board game as a reminder to not impulsively go all in on a game you know absolutely nothing about. I'm curious about what the other Mile High beer brewers, MHGG podcast sorted, just bring in Ant, have to say. What is the worst game you currently own? Or if you've already pruned your collection, what is the one game you were most happy to get rid of?
I also still own copies of Munchkin for similar reminder reasons as Zach. Easily the worst games I own. Maybe Zombie Dice. Zombie Dice is real bad too. I don't tend to get rid of games. I'm real bad about collecting things that I don't need. Megan would love it if I thinned out some of that, some of my collection. But yeah, Munchkin for me, definitely the worst game that I still own.
Jeff?
Probably worst game I still own. The worst rated game I still own is First Martians.
I own that too.
Yeah.
But I don't think I liked it. I enjoyed my time with First Martians.
Yeah, it's that and the Epic card game, which was made by the Star Realms
Yeah,
people.
yeah.
I don't own a lot of games that I.
What was did you own one that you didn't like that you got rid of?
I don't have a lot of previously owned stuff, except like some like World of Warcraft, trading card games and stuff like. But I barely remember even how to.
It's a
play
perfect
those.
time for you to say Magic. You got rid of
I don't remember ever getting rid of Magic.
Oh, okay.
It sort of just disappeared, and
Gotcha.
I'm not sure where it went. I
Okay.
assume my mom threw it all away.
Gotcha. Were you happy you got rid of it in whatever way or for
It was so out of the picture
Yeah.
that at the point where I realized I hated it so much that I hadn't owned it for so long that
Gotcha.
it's like, all right.
I also would also throw the deck building game on that too.
But it's just a pun.
Yeah, I got it for the pun.
Yeah.
I played the game. I'm like, oh, I'm glad I'm glad I knew I was paying for the pun.
Yeah.
The pun price.
Yep.
I need to go through my collection and probably mark what I have still owned. On my
Yeah, I need to
BGG.
update mine. Next question.
It's from Andrew. Why are you reading something that's not a question? Wait.
Well,
no.
the question of that is because it was a question.
Yeah. But wait, that was a question.
Yes.
Well, that part wasn't. Was it?
No, it was not.
Oops, another question. No, not this part. Before this. Oh, forget it.
Good effort.
Good effort.
Solid.
Another one from Mark.
And this time
Pump it.
less ball busting.
Yes.
Pumping them out.
Yep. Hey again. About how many games do you back on Kickstarter per year?
I'd say so. I've slowed down recently since I lost my better paying job.
I think both of us same thing for that.
Before I was probably backing somewhere between 6 and 10, and now I'm down to probably 5.
Yeah.
I cut my kickstarting roughly in half when my income went down by a third.
Yeah, I do. Right now I'm only like 2 or 3. I think I have 2 active ones. Technically 3, but one was before I lost my job.
Yeah.
So, how about you, Jeff?
Let's see. The last I did Founders of Gloomhaven, The Star Realms Frontiers, Mint Delivery, Wander, The Cult of Barnacle Bay, Edge of Darkness, and then Grifters expansion.
Just gonna read all the Kickstarters you've ever backed. Is that the plan?
That was
Those are from last year or this year?
yeah.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah, that was 2017, June 2017 to now.
Oh, okay.
So in the last year.
Gotcha. About how much money do you spend on Kickstarter games per year? That has also gone down. I
Yeah.
can't back the bigger ones. Like it took considerable effort to have the $70 extra, or technically 81 with shipping for Dinosaur Island. Now it's just it has to be a game I really want to get.
Yeah.
Usually in an like I'm more willing to back for an expansion now for a game I already have than for a new game, I think.
Same.
I had a big dry spell, Wander back in October, and that was like $90. And then Edge of Darkness for whatever the $160 is back in March. But that was it.
Right.
Yeah, looking over mine, which I have spent so far this year now almost $200. Over $200. Between Tales of the Northlands, Estates, and the Tramways Engineer Workbook, I'm just over $200 this year. I am probably pretty well tapped out. I had not really backed anything before Tramways, the last thing I backed was Card City XL, which was a while ago. And then before that, back when I still had my job, was Brass. This also doesn't cover adding things in backer hit things, because like it shows here that I spent $96 on Lisboa, but I also got Gallerist and Vinos through that, so I spent way more. But yeah, a couple $100, few hundred maybe now. Before, more than that. I mean, at one point I backed like Zombicide Season 3, like full with a bunch of add-ons. I backed Black Zombicide, Black Plague with full with a bunch of add-ons. I didn't do Massive Darkness, and I didn't do Black Plague 2, and I'm not doing Invader. I'm pretty much done with Simon.
Yeah.
So
yeah, pretty much it's just since June only like $100 or so.
Yeah.
But it's weird how having less money means you can't spend as much.
Correct. Next question.
But how many games do you buy per year not on Kickstarter?
This year,
the last game I purchased was Raiders of the North Sea and Pandemic Legacy Season 2.
I guess if you're not counting expansions.
Yeah, I got the Mystic Vale expansions. Right. Yeah.
I bought myself recently, I've purchased Great Zimbabwe. I think that's been about it. I mean, I buy a lot more games if you can, like, if you just say which games have I bought. Now, if I'm buying them for myself, that's significantly less. Like, because I buy a ton of games every year for the anniversary party. But I don't think that's what he meant.
No.
Even if I, like, Megan does win a game that I bought through that. Like, I don't know. I've bought more. I've switched, since I lost my job and cut back on Kickstarters, I've switched more to buying copies of games that I know are good. Like that's been the other thing. I've been trying to shift away from Kickstarter a little bit. As I've noticed that sometimes with these bigger Kickstarters that take a year to deliver, my tastes change enough that doesn't always work out so well.
Right.
Or a game that I'm really interested in, a year from now, there's other games that have come out and have taken that interest. So now I'm more focused on trying to buy games that are available right now that I can, especially like with my limited budget for gaming, that I can go and buy and then immediately play. So
yeah, I've definitely bought more games at a store. Like I used to buy a lot more online. Now if I do buy a game, it's going to be at like Black and Red or something like that.
Still have the ultimate low price winner of Gloomhaven.
Yes, you do.
$84.
Yeah, but now it's like $139 or something like that.
Next.
About how much money do you spend on these games per year, not on Kickstarter? I would say $200 to $300 probably.
Yeah, a few to several $100s a year that I try to really space out.
Yeah, I've had one cool stuff order between January 2017 and October 2017.
Gotcha. Yeah,
I guess it. But.
Could we hear more about some of the games that you've backed on Kickstarter? I thought about this because I never knew that any of you really backed Mintworks until you were talking about the Kickstarter for Mint Delivery. Even then, the comment amounted to, some of us backed Mintworks. It's great.
Sounds right.
There are hundreds of games funded on Kickstarter every year. Some will be awful, and they'll be held up as object lessons. Maybe 5 or 10 of them will be breakout hits that'll get reviewed all over board game media. The vast majority, it seems, never get spoken of again.
Correct. And that's what I've brought up with some of our Kickstarter stuff. I'm like, that game looks cool, but it might also really suck.
Yeah.
Yep.
Why not pay $150 now to find out when it arrives in a year?
Go ahead and like read through the rest of this, and then we'll just kind of answer this all as one big question.
Do you think that's because most of them are bad? Most of them are just meh? Most of them are good, but you don't have time to talk about them or maybe even play them much?
So, to go back to the very first question about in this little section, yes, you can hear more about the games we back on Kickstarter. We could probably be more talking about that. You know, I typically at this point, when we talk about the Kickstarter campaign, usually if I'm legitimately interested in backing, I will mention that. Or if I have backed, I'll mention that. Like this Wednesday, none of the games we talked about are games I'm backing. Most of that is money. Well, this week, not necessarily money. Like there were some interesting games there, but none that really like called out to me. Especially considering I just backed currently running project Tales of the Northlands, and then I just finished up backing the campaigns for the Estates and for Tramway's Engineer book. That's like been in the last 2 months. So I went from not backing anything for almost a year to backing 3 in a short period of time. I'm tapped out. But yeah, like I think kind of going back, I mentioned just a second ago, like I've noticed that when I back a Kickstarter, it might be a year before I see it. and so it's easy to lose that hype, and so I don't know if I'd say that most Kickstarter games are bad. I'd say probably most of them are meh. People who like them are going to really like them, but for the vast majority of people, they're like, they sell 1,000 copies through Kickstarter, if that, and those people might really be excited about it, but 1,000 people in the board gaming hobby is a drop in the bucket.
Yeah.
Some of them are good that don't get talked about. I think it's pretty, right there that hundreds every year, a lot are awful and they get held up as like, this is an example of bad Kickstarter. Then it seems like for the ones that get reviewed all over board game media, I think that's less to do with the quality of the game and more to do with how, like, who's running that Kickstarter. Like,
the campaign manager or whatever.
How good they are about actually getting their game out in front of media types.
Yeah.
We don't do Kickstarter previews really.
If we've played it, we'll talk about it when we're doing it, but we won't be like, this is a Kickstarter preview.
Yeah, we've had sometimes, like, we've gotten a couple emails from Kickstarter companies. They're like, hey, our game's going to Kickstarter soon. Can you talk about it? No, not necessarily. Like, if it actually looks interesting, sure.
Yeah.
Or like in cases like Tales of the Northlands or the Estates where I did live streams of those games while the Kickstarters were running. Yeah, of course I'm going to talk about those. I played them. I can talk a little bit about the gameplay and my experiences with them. And I can direct you to a video where you can see it being played. That's a little bit different.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the vast majority of Kickstarters, I'm not interested in, period. We'll go through peek behind the curtain time. At the start of an episode when we're doing pre-show stuff, we'll have, 5 to 10 Kickstarters that we cut down to, 3 to 5.
Mm-hmm.
Like we are really pretty selective. And there's a lot of Kickstarters that we'll be like, oh yeah, this is kind of cool, blah, 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 blah. Does it really interest any of us? No. All right, nobody really wants to talk about it. Cool, it's gone. Might be a cool Kickstarter, might be doing very well.
Yeah.
But there's hundreds of them, and we don't have hundreds of time. We have threes of time.
Yeah. Sounds the math checks out.
So
I don't know enough about time to
disprove.
Yeah.
I would agree with you. I mean, I think most of them are meh, but I think it's also I feel like at this point they aren't that too dissimilar from regular board games in terms of like the what is it called? Distribution curve or whatever you think. I don't feel like it's skewed a little bit more towards meh, but not that much.
I would say I think that like that distribution curve is pretty well, like, even for regular board games. I don't think most board games are much above meh. I think that there's enough that we've reached a point in the industry where there's enough games that like there's a lot of good games, but that's just because there's so many, not because the distribution curve is in that direction.
Well, yeah, and basically just that I think it's just because there's so many that are released that most things are like, hey, look at this thing, but then a new thing comes out and then they look at that, and so I think
that's a big part of Kickstarters and planning and stuff like that. You really need to plan when your Kickstarter's coming out, because if you're like, I'm going to launch the same day as Rising Sun, you're going to get run over.
Yep.
Well, and to be fair, like sometimes you don't, something like Rising Sun, there's a little bit of a heads up when it's going to drop.
Yes,
but there's
usually
definitely
like, this is launching here. Don't make bad business decisions.
Yeah. But there's also been plenty of other situations where somebody's launched a Kickstarter and then like that same day somebody else launches a bigger one that nobody really saw coming.
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh, well, shit, got to cancel and come back later.
I mean, you can do as much as you can.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Rest of this little question here to wrap it up.
Do any of you have Kickstarter games that you love /like/hate/ have practically forgotten about that you've never talked much about on the show? If so, I'd love to hear about them.
I mean, this could almost be an entire episode on its own. So some quick highlights for me, like if I pull up my Kickstarter list here, which I've done. Wordsea has not gotten talked about a whole lot on the show. That's one I've backed fairly recently. I haven't hardly talked at all about Feudum. Lisboa we've talked about. Tramways a little bit. That's one we're going to be reviewing. Brass, I've complained a lot about not having that game yet. Card City XL, I got that a while ago, and we've played it a couple of times. We've talked about it, but not much. It's largely collecting dust. Druids, I absolutely love. Megan and I both absolutely love, but
we reviewed it.
We reviewed it, but it's not available. Like it was only through Kickstarter, and so we try not to. Same with like Soul. I love Soul. I would love to review Soul, but I also don't want to review a game that I know is not available. Like that's not really fair. I feel
right.
Looking else through here, everything else. Pillars of Eternity, Lords of the Eastern Reach, the card game.
We talked about it once.
Yeah, I enjoyed it, but not enough to force it to the table
Right.
enough. So yeah, that one we talked about a lot more, like because we played it fresh at Gen Con the one year, and I was real excited about it, and then it took so long to get it.
Your taste changed a bit, and
then just other things came along.
Exactly.
Like that's the biggest problem with so many of these. It's hard, especially for us trying to keep up on doing reviews. Like we constantly need. It takes a very special game for us to like keep playing it over and over and over.
Yeah.
When we're trying to like also make time to do whatever we're trying to review or discuss or whatever. Not to mention just what's new and exciting and that we're interested in. Even if we haven't reviewed it. So yeah, there's a lot. There's other ones I love. Like, I love Lisboa. Lisboa is a great game. I'm super happy about backing that. Tramways I kickstarted. I'm stoked about that. Can't wait for Estates. I know I'm going to play the shit out of Estates. So yeah, I don't know. That also goes back to why I back less Kickstarters. I look over these and I see that there's a lot of stuff here that I kickstarted that ultimately didn't amount to much. So
mine's probably Coup, the one I have played the most of since I got it. But I have a pretty big gap in my Kickstarter that I have received versus what I have backed. I mean, of course, there's Scythe, but Scythe hasn't hit the table in a long time. Tiny Epic Galaxies expansion, Bears versus Babies, Tiny Epic Quest, those and the Gloomhaven bits from the second printing.
Yeah.
The Gloomhaven bits were the last thing I've received on Kickstarter. But I still have, Founders of Gloomhaven, Star Realms Frontiers, Mint Delivery, Wander coming soon-ish. But nothing really leaping out to me on here.
I know for me, the only one that I haven't really talked about is Delve. And that's just because I haven't played it. All the other ones we've either reviewed or at least talked about.
Yeah.
Right on. That wraps up the BGG questions. Took a bit of time.
Yeah.
But we got through it. We've got a couple more here from Slack, and then we are going to wrap this up.
So on to the wide world of Slack. Most of these come from Andrew.
There's been a rock star of questions. Hit all three. Only person to hit all three. Twitter, BGG, and Slack. Congratulations, Andrew. You win a prize. And that prize is that you did better than me at Food Chain last week.
You just really handed that one to him.
Correct.
These are all image-based, by the way. It starts with, I have several questions. Can the red dot ever be caught?
It's a cat in like a classroom with its arm up.
Yes.
You gotta describe the images, Jeff. Come
Yeah.
on, man.
It can in your retina.
Yes. Just keep it there, and then it's like...
No, see, they shine it directly in your eye, and then you close your eye. It's caught.
Cats understand that.
Yeah.
Feel like the image for the next one describes my response to Zach's answer to the previous one. It's whoa, Keanu.
Yes.
Yeah.
Who closes the door when the bus driver gets off?
I would assume the bus driver.
I would also assume that.
How?
By using
He
your
opens
hands.
it, and then he just...
You just close it.
I feel like he has to get off through the emergency.
I doubt that.
It's not an emergency.
A bear asking a question asks, yeah, quick question about the Second Amendment. These bear arms, where are they coming from?
Bear amputees.
It's true. During the Bear Wars.
Yeah.
The Bear
Yeah.
Wars.
Godless killing machines.
Mm-hmm. But the problem is they found God, and so it's like, oh, now
Yeah.
you're running out of them, and that's why you have all this shit that's been going on, is because we've been running out of bear arms. Look,
I don't even have a response. Other than to
don't
say
blame
that I
me.
don't have a response.
Yeah, don't blame me. It's just science, man.
I don't know enough about science to dispute Zach right now.
Yeah.
The Void has this next question. The guy who discovered milk, what was he doing?
Looking for bear arms.
See, that one doesn't like surprise me as much because like there's a basis like in humans drinking milk when they're younger and like having a concept of where milk comes from and that it in theory tastes good and is nutrient rich. I'm more curious about the first guy to eat a mussel. Like the ocean creature, like a mussel. Like how fucking hungry was that guy?
I'm gonna eat that booger.
Like seriously, or an oyster.
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna go through all the trouble
Oyster's the booger
to
one.
break open this oyster,
Uh-huh.
and then I'm gonna take it out. And then
Does this rock have anything that I can eat?
and then who thought to? Then
Maybe
like,
people cracked open a lot of rocks before they found that oyster.
and then like we're all in the half shell. Like that's cool.
I didn't die.
Yeah.
That's kind of how humanity went for a long time.
Or that part, like that fish where if you cook it wrong, it kills you.
Yeah.
How many?
I'm gonna
many
find a way to
people?
eat this.
Some people paid the price for that.
yeah.
The real truth to his question is about 7,500 years ago in Europe, when people could actually have the enzyme to digest milk.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's where we got the enzyme.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I imagine that it was another one of those things. People were drinking milk for a while, and it just was fucking them up. They were getting the shits, and they didn't know why. They're like, "Oh, is it water, or is it this liquid we're drinking from cows?"
No, it's just this is gonna be worth it. Generations.
Ah, yes, planning ahead for
Yeah.
evolution.
Yeah.
I like it.
But that's different than when it became a staple.
Yeah.
I guess.
Fair enough.
Last question.
From Slack, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
last
Period?
question, period, yeah. 'cause-
Period.
yeah.
Period.
Last question, and then this episode is done.
Okay, we all know what games you're married to. Spelled you wrong. What is your one cheat game? In this context, what is the one game in a genre that you don't normally like that you actually like this game?
I think for me, one of the ones that first jumps to mind for easy answer is Betrayal at the House on the Hill. Fully thematic, dice chucking, random event bullshit game that I love to pieces. So much fun. Absolutely love it. Think it nails what it's trying to do. You know, that's one of the things you talk about, Zach. Like, it's a game that
Yeah.
does exactly what it sets out to do, and I think it does it fantastically. That's the one that jumps out to me in my collection and games that I enjoy, for one that is not really in what you might consider my wheelhouse.
No.
No, not at all. At least not now.
Oh.
I mean, at the very least, you were introduced to it before you knew.
True.
Like imagine if you try if you
Before
got
you knew.
well, like imagine if today or on Wednesday, say you went to game night and they're like, we're gonna play Betrayal at a House on the Hill, and you'd never played it before. Do you think your opinions would still say the same?
Possibly. Like, for me, like, a big part of it's like Tales of the Arabian Nights would maybe work for me more if I gave a rat's ass about that theme, or if it was slightly more cohesive.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think one of the things that helps Betrayal is, like, yeah, a lot of the events are random, like the cards you draw and stuff, you know, but that's like, oh, you're in a haunted house and weird shit's happening. But then there's a cohesive story to each playthrough.
Mm-hmm.
You know, sometimes they're like, it's got huge balance issues and a bunch of other problems, but I can get into it from a thematic perspective. I can kind of role play whatever character I end up with, and the game doesn't try and make me do things that don't make sense
Right.
necessarily. Plus, you know, I probably wouldn't like it as much if I was introduced to it now, but I don't think I would hate it like I hate some games. I don't know. Hard to say. What about you, Zach? What's your one that's outside your wheelhouse?
Probably Yokohama.
That was one I was thinking.
I've really been wanting to play it again recently, especially since we've never actually played it with my Deluxified edition.
It's true.
And Hefe, bring us home. Last answer of the night. What is your cheat game? Trick question. You have no wheelhouse. You're not married to any games. You're a big slut.
Confirmed bachelor.
Confirmed bachelor. Confirmed.
Yeah, so you're not cheating on anybody.
It's true.
We all know it's true. No, is there any game that you can think of that feels like outside of it's on its own outside of in an area you don't normally like?
It's I mean, I like the Gallerist a lot. Feast for Odin seems kind of on the heavier side for what but it's all that same sort of
I mean, all those are worker placement games.
way.
Like, I don't feel like that's in a genre you dislike.
Yeah.
Or a mechanism or anything you dislike.
Hmm.
CCGs. Are there any CCGs?
Hearthstone.
It's Hearth. Oh yeah, it's definitely Hearthstone.
Hearthstone.
Yeah, that has
Yeah.
to be Hearthstone with a fucking exclamation point.
Yeah.
As much as I hate the CCG model, I will play the shit out of that game.
Yeah.
In fact, I've been working with Jeff for over a month. And in that over a month, you know, say we've been working together for 40 days. We'll throw that out. There's a rough number. We've went to lunch on probably 30 of those 40 days. Jeff has said probably a dozen words to me during our lunch. He just sits there and plays Hearthstone the entire time.
And is
Sounds about
silent and eats pizza.
Best lunches I ever have. Nobody gets in the way of me stuffing food into my mouth as fast as humanly possible.
Yeah, I've seen it.
But right on. That is all of that. To think that at one point I was vaguely concerned that this would not be a very long episode because we didn't have enough questions.
I don't know why
I should have known better. You could ask us 2 questions and we'd find a way to make it last for 2 hours.
And have.
And have.
Just dig deep.
Yep. So thanks to everybody who submitted questions for us to answer. Hopefully you all have enjoyed this round of the MHGG put to the question, part 2. And yeah, we'll do another one of these sometime in the future. So, keep thinking up ridiculous shit to ask us, either on point, like Mark calling us out on our shit, or random and inane from Andrew on Slack about where do bear arms come from. So we love it all, and we answer it all because we're sadists like that. So if you want to get in touch with us to ask us random questions even outside of these episodes, or just interact with us or whatever, you can always send us an email.
Emails at milehighgameguys.com.
You can join our Board Game Geek Guild number 2731, and start participating in episode chats over there to let your opinion be heard on the air, because we read BGG responses
Yes, we do.
on the show. We read emails on the show too, but we also have Facebook and Instagram /MileHighGameGuys. We are all on Twitter. I tweet under @MHGameGuys.
I'm Zach_MHGG.
And I'm Jeff_MHGG.
You can also see some of our content along with all of the other awesome people in Punchboard Media over at punchboardmedia.com, including Jake, who did the episode intros for the last 2 episodes, which were absolutely amazing. Another big shout out to you, Jake. If you guys are not listening to Draft Mechanic already and you like beer, which if you're at all like us, you love beer. And if you like quality board game discussions and reviews and shit like that, you will like Draft Mechanic. So go listen to Jake and Danielle over there on their show. Also, fellow members of Punchboard Media. Yeah, I think that about sums it up. We are currently, as you're listening to this, in St. Louis for Geekway, assuming you're listening to it at all anywhere near the day it was released.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully playing games, definitely eating hot fried chicken, and having some fun. See you on Wednesday's episode next week. You'll hear all about the adventures we had, things we did, all that. Then I'll do HeavyCon. Zach, you're going to go wander off into the desert in Utah.
Yep, and regret my life choices.
Yeah, for Memorial Day weekend. And then we'll see where things go after that. It is 1:16 a.m. here in Denver. We had a very late start to these episodes, and we are all tired, as may have become evident in the end of this show. Hopefully not too bad.
I'm fine.
We're going to sign off. Thanks, everybody, for listening. We really appreciate it. You all are amazing listeners. Thanks again for all the questions. As always, I have been your host, Adrian.
And I'm still Zach.
And I'm Questionable Jeff.
Bye.
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 Punchboard Media, where we all
bring something
to the table.
Pull up a chair
at punchboardmedia.com.